Yeah, hi. Is this Middlebrow?
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Middlebrow podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Brian Park.
I'm Dan Rosen.
What's up, Dan?
We're every day we're in a nicer and nicer studio. Next week we're going to be in Joe Rogan's studio.
That would be amazing.
We're gonna have I would like to have a Jamie, or some like
Jamie's an icon.
some
producer.
some lackey. Yeah,
I would really put them to work because I have a thing with misinformation and misspeaking.
yeah. I don't think Jamie does a good enough job on that podcast. I will say. I think misinformation runs free.
Well, listeners, we are really excited for our episode this week because we have a really fun guest that I'm sure you guys are really going to love. Should we just bring her into the fold, Dan?
I think so.
Our guest this week is a fashion podcaster. She's the host of the Cutting Room Floor podcast. Give it up for Recho Amondi.
Yay. Hi, guys.
Hey,
What's
thanks,
up?
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I just realized I wasn't supposed to be talking earlier because you guys were doing
No,
the
you're
intro.
not. There's no rules. There's no.
We're a pro.
Please leave. Sorry. That's it.
I'm happy to be
Strike
on
one
Middlebrow.
podcast.
Middlebrow Pod, iconic.
Let's go. How's it feel to be on the other side of the table?
It's fun. It's interesting. I always like to look under the hood and see how other people are doing what they're doing because, like, I've done it. So it's a lot of like working through kinks. So I enjoy. I don't do this often, but like I like it.
I hate being guests on other podcasts.
Really?
Yeah, especially compared to this where I can I have time to think about exactly what we're going to talk about, what we're going to say.
Why? Why don't you like it?
I like control.
Yeah.
That's I didn't ever like doing improv, but I like stand up and I don't like doing crowd work. It's I like to be entirely in control, know what I can say and where things can go.
Intentional about it.
Yeah.
Do you feel vulnerable when you're being interviewed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dan,
Don't switch. Don't start. No Freud.
Listeners, you can't see, but Dan's hands are just gripping tighter as Recho is asking him these questions.
She's already turning her famous magnifying glass.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be asked the questions.
You run a tight ship. I can tell because when we were emailing with your team, they're like, "How long is this going to take door to door?" And I was like, "Door to door, like from as you leave your house, and then you come home?"
from the minute you walk in the door to the minute you walk out that door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting started. We're gonna get you out and through the same door.
No, today I'm chill. That's so funny because now it sounds like we're so strict. Today I'm chill. I mean, it's a Wednesday, so I'm that's usually my lightest day, and so I have designated this time for you guys. I'm honored to be on Middlebrow,
Hell
by the
yeah.
way.
Thank you.
Let's go.
I caught you walking around World Trade Center. Really the most swagless area of Manhattan, I think. Maybe Hudson Yards and World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Hudson Yards is worse.
Hudson Yards is worse.
World Trade Center is better because there actually are a lot of fashion brands that have offices
Yeah, there's
down
some
here.
condo employees walking around.
Yeah, High Snob is down here. Tibby is down here. There's a lot of fashion brands who have HQ down here.
Interesting. Just because of the affordable.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but I just noticed it over time, especially when I was working in fashion more. I mean, I guess I still am, but in a different way. I just running around. I'd be like, why is everybody in Fide?
It's have you seen those proposals for an extension of downtown New York where they add a whole mile of downtown?
Where's it gonna go?
It goes on the river. It's a platform.
Yes. Yes.
And then that's I felt where we were going. Where maybe Zoran will extend downtown New York. They should make it more Dime Square. It'll just be Dimes Triangle.
I realized this when I went to go see Wicked. I saw it in Battery Park for some reason, and I was like, why are we going to the theater that has no vibes at all? And I was so pissed because I don't know, I'm Wicked Hive. I'm obsessed with that musical. I was so excited to see it, and that's when I learned about this. And we were in this theater, and it was these people are not cultured. They do not care about theater. They did not care about. They were annoyed that the movie was on, and then when it was off, they just stood up and walked out. No applause, no excitement.
They weren't singing along.
No, nothing. And I was like, we gotta go see this again in a different theater.
Yeah.
So we went to go see it again.
Back to back.
Yeah, I would because I was like, this will not be my experience, and I saw it again in a different theater where people had respect.
Yeah, you have to go to that's Lincoln Square, 68th Street.
No, well, that's
that's
top,
church.
top that. Where do you think I went? What neighborhood do you think I went to get some cultural vibes?
For Wicked? Chelsea, maybe?
Times Square, baby.
I went to the East Village.
Oh, the East Village.
But they were lit. They were excited.
Okay, they were excited.
Okay. I like the Battery Park City Theater, though.
Yeah, it's nice.
The seats recline and you have so much space around you.
Yes.
It feels like you're sitting in a first-class cabin.
I don't want that. I want to be smushed up with the people.
Same.
Yeah. Well,
That's why this is my theater experience. What's the best theater movie-going experience you've ever had? Who knows where this podcast goes?
I'm learning. Do people go to the movies anymore? I'm having to like rack my brain to think of like times that I've gone to see movies. Really, I don't know. I'm sorry, I have a lame answer. I don't know.
Wicked, Battery Park.
Wicked, Gershwin Theater, like
Gershwin
at the
Theater.
real theater.
okay.
The real deal.
Yeah.
Do you watch fashion shows?
I hate to admit this, but no, not really, not anymore.
Not anymore. When did that stop?
If I wanted to lie, I'd say like 2022. But if I wanted to be honest, I'd probably say like 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's also was reactionary because there was a time, a majority of my life, I was obsessed with fashion shows. Like could name anything, watched everything, every collection, everything, forever, everything, like deeply obsessed with it. So I think in that sense, I can still like recall a lot of things. But in terms of like keeping up with it regularly, I just like shifted my focus. But I still have an appreciation for it. It's just not. It almost feels like amateur entry to fashion interest.
Oh,
Like,
you watched a fashion show?
you watch fashion shows, but that's how it was.
prosaic.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see in Paris people like set up like outside at a bar?
Yeah, they're like watching
And watch it.
Jonathan Anderson's like Dior debut. And
Yeah,
people,
it's
like,
becoming a
cheering.
thing.
Yeah, like it was the Super Bowl. It's like, what do you?
Yeah.
Who are these people? What is
I
your
like
life?
that though. I like that it's become like a cultural thing. Yeah, it's sport now. I like that, but I don't.
Who
Yeah,
are you rooting for? Like, yo,
literally.
that's my boy
Yeah.
walking.
And I say that all the time. I'm like, this is sports. Like, especially when everybody starts getting traded, which is like, it's just such a circle jerk because it's like, and that's part of the reason why I don't keep up as much as I used to because once you've seen one, you've seen them all in a way, and we're still talking about the same 10 to 11 people. So how?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, is the idea of creativity in fashion even real? Because, like you said, it's just it feels like musical chairs of the same 5 to 10 creative directors, and they go from one house to the other. And I feel like if you're just reusing and recycling the same creative directors, like, where do new ideas come from then?
I think every once in a while there will be a shooting star, and I think the industry notices when that happens. For the most part, I think you're right, though.
Yeah.
But creativity is real. If you can land yourself on like a real visionary, it doesn't happen every day. Like we know that about everything, right? Any form of creativity doesn't happen every day. For the most part, everyone else will be derivative of that thing. But every once in a while, you get somebody who really has something to say and is given the opportunity and the space to do that at the highest level or the most corporate level, and then they can really shine. But no, it's not that often.
Because I feel like we're living through it now, Dan, where when I was following fashion very closely, it's like, yeah, I got my skinny jeans, let's go. And then I just stopped caring as much, and now the circle has been completed. And now the old jeans that I never wore, they're like cool again.
That always happens. You can always just wait. Yeah. I always have.
Yeah, I think it has to do with like what's happening in time. It's like a recipe. It's like when you're cooking, like there has to be a certain amount of the right ingredients at the right time for something to make sense. So like when Hedy Slimane was a big deal,
Right.
that made sense at that time. Like he brought in kind of like this rocker chic thing, the skinny tie, kind of like this kind of like
leather jackets,
glam rock punk thing, which hadn't really been done at that time in that way.
Right.
Now Hedy feels, if you put him at Celine, whatever, it feels
He's gonna
derivative.
do the same thing.
Now it feels boring, but at the time it felt interesting. Or like, when Alessandro got to Gucci, you can't deny what that was. Gucci's sales had plummeted before he got there. I mean, I used to work at Barney's. They took Gucci off the shelves at Barney's. That's how much it wasn't selling. And then he gets there, and he also was an accessories designer at the company. He had been there mad long. And then got this opportunity, and then he just soared, and he kind of brought back this kind of 70s Italian glam, but it was also felt very global, also felt like this kind of like Napoleon Dynamite nerd 70s punk thing in its own way.
Right.
But then that kind of reached its apex. Now that died, right? So then Demna was also a visionary in his own way, but he took that, in my opinion, to its apex too. So that kind of feels like that moment has died too. So I think
Because he left, or because like he was like,
it just
oh,
was
this is kinda
overdone.
over?
Like how many more Balenciaga black gray hoodies do we need? Like he kind of did with Vetements, and then with Balenciaga, he did what he came to do. I believe in like a creative window closing. Like after a while, you've said what you've needed to say, and then at that point,
But then why does he go to Gucci?
Well, that's an appointment. Then you just get appointed somewhere, and probably the deal was good. That's when it gets to be like the cyclical, I think, just like
it's
a
just a
circle
gig.
jerk. Yeah, it's a gig. It's a gig at this point. And also to go to a house that had that kind of success also is kind of weird too, because they tried to replicate what happened with Alessandro and it didn't work. And so now that you have all these like CEOs trying to make it work again, and like trying to jumpstart the car. It's like after Virgil died, everyone's like, how do we get that Virgil thing again? It's like but they don't really know culturally at the ground what's making that person person becomes successful.
Right.
They just know they want to repeat it.
So they pick someone who this
Yeah.
person is. So you think the Pharrell thing was like, oh, he's kind of.
Yes, he's black, he's kind of streetwear, he's kind of music, he's kind of celebrity. It's close enough. He's more tame. Kanye's too wild. It's too much of a wild card. But you can't really replicate what that thing was. But they don't really know what all contributed to why Virgil was successful. It wasn't just the fact that he was black and American, but they can be very reductive in terms of, and they're European, in the way that they see certain things. So they'll try to put someone in there that's kind of that, but it's not. There's a number of reasons why Pharrell, and no disrespect, I love Pharrell, Vuitton will never have the same punch that Virgil
but he also
did.
doesn't come from the same pedigree and background.
All these things, but they just try to. Somebody has to take the job.
Yeah, but maybe, what if someone who has a clothing background?
I know, shocker, right?
I'm not in it, so maybe to me, I'm
wild
like,
concept. I know.
don't people respect? Like, it'd be weird to give a movie director be like,
Listen.
oh, what if we let the some random musician? And
You would
you'd be
think,
like, okay.
You would think that's how it should be, and I think Alessandro, when he went to Gucci, that was a testament to that he was an unknown person that nobody knew who he was. Obviously, he had been at Gucci for something like 10, maybe 15 years, I don't know, but he knew how the system worked. But that was an unknown person, and look what he was able to do. So I'm on your side. I very much advocate for the unknown, talented person. But a lot of people, I guess these executives, these boards are going for the glamorous marketing thing. And as we've seen multiple times, that these things fall flat.
It's not enough to have a Pharrell, a famous.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
And I love Pharrell, you know what I mean? And I do think he's a visionary in his own right, but I don't know that he's going to create or has created the same buzz around LV that Virgil did. I don't even think Virgil was that talented, for being real, but there was a perfect storm of things that made him super magnetic.
How do you think that buzz is created? Is it just who are the first people who recognize it and talk about it, and then how does that trickle down to mass market? In that way, where they're like, oh, they are doing something cool. Who do people look to be like, okay, Gucci's doing something different, and I want to start wearing that.
Wait, what's the question? How does something become popular?
I guess okay, when Alessandro was at Gucci, what was it about what he did that brought people on board to a brand that was kind of dried out?
I think, and I'll be interested to see how people respond to this, because this is just kind of my thoughts. But I think what he did was still use the codes of Gucci, the DNA, this kind of glamorous Italian house, and bring it to the 21st century, which a lot of, fashion has a lot of cultural cachet, but is very dinosauric in the way that they do things. But he also made it very global. I don't know if you remember this, Alessandro used to always wear this LA Dodgers hat. And loafers with the White Sox and denim, and the way even the campaigns or getting Yorgos Lanthimos to direct a campaign, it was like a mixing pot. He realized that the internet was now flat, that all of, he would have these Gucci shows with the Hollywood sign in it, that everybody was all on the same internet, and his references were everywhere. They had a lot of Italian foundation to them, but everything was pulled from everywhere. So it kind of, when he would throw things down the runway, it looked like a hodgepodge. It almost just looked like kind of the way our feeds look in a way, just like a hodgepodge of things all together. But then it also still had, the color palette. He pulled a lot of a lot of color schemes at the time. This is also the beginning of brown, if that makes sense. Beginning of brown becoming a trend. Before that, everyone was shooting in black, white, high contrast, in studio, digital, DSLR, right almost around the time that right before people started really shooting Portra 400. Everything got really warm. Everything got really tonal. Everybody wanted to shoot outside in natural light. And we see that photography now, but it looks, I shouldn't even say photography, that aesthetic now, but it seems correct today. It feels normal.
Is it brown aesthetic? Are you describing to come at it from a menswear approach, like Aimé Leon Dore and
all of
Kith
that.
and
All of that is
Bodhi
derivative. Yes.
And that kind of yeah, okay.
All of that is derivative of when brown became really popular, which was starting around 2014, 15, and that's when he got there. So a lot of the colors that he was bringing in were burgundies, reds, warm, golden, browns, corduroys, almost fabrications that we really hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Not that we hadn't seen them, but all of this stuff is about reimagining the context. It's not that anything is new. It's just how you're saying it. Also the storytelling of what he was putting down the runway. The accessories at Gucci were fantastic at that time. The loafers with the fur were a hit.
Right.
The bags were, the whole thing top to bottom. That's one of those things where you can tell it's a top-down approach. Here's a creative direction. Here's how it's going to be distributed through all of our categories: accessories, leather goods, ready-to-wear, men's, women's, bags, etc.
Right.
But I think that's somebody who just had to vomit a lot to say. I have a lot to say. You're giving me the baton. I'm going to sprint with it. And I have put all these people in positions, and I don't think it hurt that he understood the structure of the company because he had already been there. I think Demna had a unique proposition when he first started with Vetements with his brother, and then got the appointment at Balenciaga. completely turned Balenciaga upside down in terms of like what we know about that house in general. But I think all of these, that's why I think like when you, to answer your question or to kind of come back to like, is creativity real? It is real, but I think in fashion, it's almost just like chess pieces. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube. It's like you're not really pulling anything really new. You're just trying to figure out new ways to do it or tell it. And then there's also just things that are in the zeitgeist that you kind of can't control. Sometimes it's just like perfect timing.
Yeah. Because there's still an objective at the end, like which is profit margins.
Yeah.
Like I think if something's truly creative, there's no like endpoint solution that you're working towards really.
In terms of its level of abstraction, that's possible?
Well, I think that's the difference between art and design.
Yeah.
I think art can just be like a pure form of expression. Design has parameters. You have to be somewhat pragmatic, and there's like confines to be able to like excel in it, which is what I like about design. Is like usually there's like a function to it. So like apparel design, I think sometimes people think it's just like be creative, because like I used to talk to like a lot of young fashion school students.
Yeah.
And partly this is like to blame the universities or whatever, the curriculums for doing this, but like they would just be like, feel the vibes. And I'm like, no, you actually have to design something that I can wear that will sell. If you want to cooperate, participate in this industry, employable. Yeah. You can't just be like, I made this like thing that doesn't work. It just, it's like making a chair that doesn't work.
Or the labor that would go into it would be so absurd to actually sell.
Yes, and it just wouldn't make sense, So that's, I think there's a pragmatism there, but obviously it's about the bottom line and like selling things. Right. But also to your point, I think like when it comes to like top down, like you're like, how do things become popular? I think that's also why there was such a tension between like streetwear and high fashion in those last 15 years. Like part of the like Virgil proclamation was because like on the one hand, you have fashion, which typically has been a trickle down thing where like it starts at the top, the whole Devil Wears Prada, Cerulean Blue concept, which is like we decide for you, and then people in the industry can co-sign it. And not even in like a
watered down until it ends up at Target.
Yeah, and then it gets watered down, and not even like a gatekeeping way, but in a way of like we know what we've seen everything, so we know what's derivative and what's good and what's new. Just like if you have an expertise, you're like, I will be able to identify what feels fresh versus someone like me who just might not have the eyes for it. So like that'll get trickled down. But then you have the streetwear thing, which was really from the street up, and so you had like you didn't need to be a part of any kind of establishment to be like this is good. That's kind of what propelled Kanye and Virgil and all of this like this boys club is what I call it into the rooms that they were in.
Billionaires Boys Club.
Because exactly. It's because that came from like the street. And so like whether it was, I don't know, Stussy, Supreme, whatever, these brands that have been around for a long time, they were the opposite of those establishments, but like the street got to vote them into the establishment. So I feel like now...
So who had the power then? Do you think it was the street, or do you think they were co-opted and watered down?
I think it was the street. I think it was the public. They got to vote it in. It was like a very democratic way of looking at fashion. That's why Balenciaga and all these luxury brands started making T-shirts. They never were doing that before. They wanted a piece of the pie and hoodies. Yeah, that's not what ready-to-wear had ever been historically. So they actually, the street was so powerful that they needed to, or at least tried to, like, replicate it.
Do you think that's good? Is democracy good? Like, is fashion better for the, like, not having kind of these tastemakers, gatekeepers kind of decide where we should go, what we should wear, and that trickles down?
I don't know. I feel like we need to bring gatekeepers back lately. But, the pendulum swings. I think democracy and the internet has been really helpful for a lot of things. And then sometimes there's just too many cooks in the kitchen and somebody has to steward, like, what the conversation is and, like, what's considered good or bad. But even if not even, like, again, considered good or bad from, like, a ivory tower, but just considering what's good or bad from just, like, a level of expertise. You can decide what you want.
For instance, when I think of certain fashion houses that are very gatekeepery, like Loro Piana or like Brunello Cucinelli, or they've become somewhat more democratized because TikTok trends have been like old money aesthetic. Once people become aware of those types of houses where year to year, it's not really changing much up. Do you think it's bad for those houses? Because now that there's so many more eyeballs on them that they maybe didn't anticipate before, that they have to like feel this pressure to have to change?
No, I think most of them just want to make money.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they don't care. They still might have that attitude of like, it depends. Like some people don't. Some people have resentment for their fans. Some people have disdain towards their fans. Do you know what I mean? Like where a group or a community of people find your work and they love it, and that's not the group that you intended to like it.
Is that the Tommy Hilfiger thing?
Yeah, the Tommy Hilfiger thing. John Mayer historically said that he was annoyed that all of his fans were like sorority girls. Like he was like, that wasn't who it was for. You don't get
trying to sleep with, not who I'm making music for.
You don't get to choose like who your fans are sometimes. Like you don't choose the people choose you kind of thing. And so I think every brand has always had tension with that because they're like, well, wait a minute, that's not maybe what I wanted. But at the end of the day, are they complaining that it's selling, that they're successful? No. So I think it's more about having to like mitigate what that is and finding somewhere in between. But I also think there's a certain type of consumer who really want something only because it's expensive. That really attracts a lot of people. People kind of have like a humiliation kink where they like to feel rejected. They like to be able to
Like
not be
the
able to afford
Hermes
something.
list.
Yeah. They like to not be able to afford something. They like to be told no. They like to feel rejected. For a certain type of person, that's mobilizing. Like it makes them want to do something. So
Yeah.
for some people, some places, like a high price point is almost like a marketing tactic where they want to make it feel inaccessible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It doesn't work for every brand, but like the Brunos, the Loro Pianos, like that's unnecessarily expensive in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's why you're on Patreon, because you're like, this is not for everyone.
It's not
This
for
is just for the select few.
Yeah. So, I think they're not mad at the fact that they're making money. They're not mad at the fact that they're being talked about. How could they be? It's like
Yeah.
every marketer's dream.
You used to have your own namesake label, Amondi. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I had it for 5 years. From like I was like ideating it in like 2013, but I dissolved it in 2020. So I would say the sweet spot was like 2015 to 2020. And I don't know, I feel like it was a good time while I did it. It was an experiment in many ways. When I look back on it, it almost feels like business school. It feels like I did exactly what they tell you not to do, which is like start your own brand pretty much out of school. I'd only been out of school for a few years when I started that.
Why did they tell you not to do that?
Just because you don't know anything. You don't know
You're going
anything.
to
You
lose
don't
a massive
know.
amount of money. And
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, But I did it anyway, and I don't regret it because I don't think I would have had the patience to like work in-house somewhere. I knew I was too like rambunctious to really do that. So like I felt like I'd rather just fail. I'm the type of person that's like, I'm just going to do it and fail.
And now your podcast, you also don't have a boss. You like being the boss.
Yeah, but all that stuff I didn't know back then. I didn't know about entrepreneurship. I didn't know that if you have these symptoms that you might be better off working for yourself. I kind of had to learn the hard way. I wish somebody would have told me that when I was younger, that like, you're the kind of person who probably will want to work for yourself. I didn't know that. I just kept losing jobs and did it, but I was a good student. Like it wasn't that I was like not responsible. I just didn't like people. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. So yeah.
What kind of pieces were you making? Or like
It was women's. It was ready to wear. It was cut and sew. It was designed. I loved what we did. I still think it's really good. I still think.
You still have pieces? You still wear them?
Yeah, I still have pieces. Well, I don't really wear them because I was making things that were a little bit more formal than what I wear day to day.
Okay.
But I could wear them. I still have some of them, and they're beautiful. But I had worn them before a lot, like to weddings or whatever. But I don't want to make it seem like it was like that formal because it wasn't like bridal or anything. But it was just like elevated or what they called advanced contemporary at the time.
Advanced contemporary?
Advanced
contemporary.
Okay.
Which is kind of like a lost market, unfortunately.
That sounds like a music genre.
Advanced contemporary, it does.
Contemporary.
Yeah, advanced contemporary is kind of dead in a way, but it was a bigger thing when I moved to New York, which would have been like 2011. But like Scoop, Intermix, Barney's Co-op,
I used to shop
Stephen
at-
Allen.
Yeah, Barney's Co-op. Rest in peace.
Yeah, all those
Yeah.
places would have been considered advanced contemporary.
And you think that it's almost like a middle that's dead?
I think so, kind of. I mean, I guess you still have some players that are still in that space. You still have Vince, you still have James Purse or like ALC or Alexander Wang, or anything that's like on Mercer, Green, Acne, APC. That's all still considered advanced contemporary because it's not designer.
Do you think that like sites like Essence have kind of obliterated those distinctions?
That's a good question. Essence, I think, was a trailblazer in terms of how everybody on the internet at that time was actually a trailblazer. Any e-commerce platform at the time, Essence, Net-a-Porter, Shopbop, Revolve.
They feel like sinister big tech energy to me.
Well, since that Sequoia acquisition, I'm sure that things have changed.
Yeah, and they have like dynamic pricing, and they use these really powerful algorithms, and they just can just buy at scale. So if you're like a mom and pop,
Yeah, I know
you're just
designers
fucked.
feel the same way that like whatever people have to sell on Amazon.
Yeah.
I feel like you hear their stories where they just feel completely screwed.
I guess in reference to your namesake label, Amondi, after having spoken to all of these entrepreneurs and people in the fashion industry, have you gleaned any insights from that where maybe you look back on your time when you had your own label and thought, oh, maybe I could have done this differently?
Yeah, probably. But I think I realized I could have done things differently even without having a podcast. So, like, I knew I was making a lot of mistakes while I was making the mistakes. People ask me a lot, like, what's your favorite episode? And I can't answer that because everyone is...
This is our favorite episode.
Yeah, this one. Every single one there's something to learn from every single one. Yeah, but just different ways because I interview different types of people in the business, like a different vertical. So I can't say that there's like one definitive thing that I've learned, but everybody's like given me so many nuggets, like so many. I mean, I interviewed Mickey Drexler, who is known for being CEO of, Gap for many years, J. Crew, Old Navy, Madewell. They call him the prince of the rag trade, like the retail king.
Mickey Drexler. Dude, Dan, you remember for a while where a lot of guys in New York they would just cuff their jeans up really high, and you wear it with like Vans, and it's a naked, sockless.
Just like up to here.
I associate him, Mickey Drexler, with that look.
That J. Crew era.
Yeah.
He still wears a denim jacket to this day. Like, that's him. Denim on denim. What do they call that? Like, Canadian tuxedo?
Yeah.
I love Mickey, but like, he's a merchant at heart, even though he's been a CEO of these huge mass brands. He would talk about how he would get in an argument with Tyler Haney when he was on the board of Outdoor Voices, and he's like, she didn't want to sell black. She said it was a part of her business model that they didn't sell black. He's like, what are you of course you got to sell black. Black sells, and he kind of had that green thumb for being a merchant for many, many years. I mean, at one point you can say it's an accident, but when you've touched 4 or 5 companies and they're all doing well, it's like, that's not a mistake. So he, anyone who's old, that's why I think people notice I interview a lot of people that are older than me, because I feel like I like talking to older people. They know so much. So like, he left me with so many gems, still does. Terry Egan, who I interviewed, she was at the Wall Street Journal covering fashion for 20 years by herself. Before there was a fashion beat, she started the fashion beat. She gave me a lot of great insights. When
you talk to older people, hasn't the industry shifted so much with e-com, with social media, that like maybe some of the lessons that they learned coming up are completely irrelevant?
But then like some things are just definitively true. It's like talking to your grandparents. It's like, yeah, things have changed, but like they'll just hit you with like some hard truth, and you're like, damn, that's still real. That's still true today. So some things, and I think also there's an exchange
we had different
there.
Grandparents, Mike.
No, I have I'm African, so we might have similar grandparents. The reason why I started the podcast to begin with is because I felt like I wasn't seeing any media that spoke to people like they knew what they were talking about. I mean, it's also kind of why I was interested in Middlebrow when I first saw it. I mean, I first came across your content, and all of the kind of like skits that you were doing were very niche, and like only a certain kind of person would laugh at this or know how ridiculous it was. Or I remember one of them was like, when you're on a date with a man who knows how to pronounce Loewe, and like everything that you're pulling and referencing is like so niche. You have to get it to get, and I'm sending, it's all these shares are going on. I'm sending it to people who I know will also get it. So in a way, when I started the podcast, it was kind of like that. I was like, I want to talk to people who already know what I'm talking about. I don't want to see a listicle of like 10 best dresses to wear on New Year's Eve. Because that's how
white
most
t-shirts under $50.
Exactly. That's how most fashion media was, from Refinery 29 to Rack to Vogue even. And Vogue used to be a very reputable establishment. So like I was just tired of seeing things, and I wanted to fit somewhere between like a trade publication, because I found value in like WWD and Business of Fashion, but it still felt very clinical and very sterile to me. And then I also wanted some of that cultural stuff, and everything that my media diet was consumed with everything was in it, from Complex to Fader to the fashion mags to everything that went to desktop to everything that was new on digital to High Snob to whatever, the blogs that became media companies. I watched and read everything.
Do you think they, as the money dried up, did they become less critical, more PR?
I don't know that they were ever critical. I feel like they were more curators than anything. I don't know that anyone's really been critical, because the problem is the business model in and of itself says that you're in business with the brands that you would criticize. So you're already compromised.
Well, we've talked to David Mission about, who was a design critic, and it's the same thing in design. There's like no criticism in design because they need the advertisers and they need celebrities and the designers, and it's too incestuous that you like
of course
can't really, in the way that you can about art or movies, where I feel like there is a pretty healthy, like, critical world.
I feel that right now, even. Sometimes I'm a hater, and I'll talk some shit on this pod, and then randomly that person will DM me, and I'm like, fuck. Mm-hmm. Are they trying to do like a power move on me right now?
Yeah, that happened to me.
That happened to you?
I roasted Daniel Arsham's house.
Oh my God.
And he DM'd me, but he was like, he tried to jujitsu me. He was like, thanks for the laughs. Me and my whole family loved it. And I'm like, all right.
So that's a psyop, for sure.
I don't trust you.
For sure. That house wasn't great.
Yeah.
That was a tacky house.
You can watch the video. You can see what
That was a tacky house.
The thing I said.
And I was surprised. I was like, babe, come look at this.
I mean, the thing I said, that the main issue is that it's filled with his art. Which is...
I didn't make that connection.
You can't come back from that.
No, you can't.
So you felt that there weren't other publications that are actually going deep in a way, and that had expertise. It was very shallow.
That too. That part of it too. I think creators like make things that they wish existed, right? Like you make the thing that you want to watch, or that's what I did. I made the show that I wish I had had when I was like in college or when I just moved to New York. And that was a culmination of things that like felt informed, felt educational, felt entertaining, felt niche about something that I like. Because fashion is like a big business, and not just business, culturally it's huge. It's like one of the cornerstones of culture, right up there with cinema, with music, with everything, and yet people still don't really understand how any of it works. Like if you were to ask the average person name me 3 record labels, they could tell you. They would say Columbia, Def Jam, whatever, Interscope. If you ask somebody, name me three clothing manufacturers anywhere in the world, they don't know. Nobody knows anything
Probably
about
don't
this
know
business.
designers. Maybe they know like 1 or 2.
There's more interest in fashion at large. Like it's becoming more of a mass interest, whereas before it was more niche. Like more people care about how they're getting dressed than ever before. But I just wanted something that felt like it was satiating what I wanted to watch. So that was part of it for sure.
Yeah.
And you told us just before that you want people to just DM you their designs and ask for crits, right?
When did I say that?
You definitely said that.
I definitely did
Yeah,
not
so
say that.
the
Please,
listeners
please
just-
don't do that. Please, which camera? Please don't do that.
I get that. I get that with art. People send me their art.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. And they're like, it would mean so much. Even if you roast it, even if you make fun of me, I'd love it. I've loved that. And I'm not going to do that.
Isn't there a guy on the internet who is roasting people's art?
Yeah, and I think it's so easy. He's just like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
It's like, he's picking people who have no idea what
Bad
they're
art,
doing.
yeah.
And it's like, to me, the idea of like roasting or doing critique of like big institutional players who have money, who have influence, who should know better,
Yeah.
who are like, I feel like they're opening themselves up for commentary. If you're just like a random person, I'm not going to tell you that your art sucks.
It's like when Charlie Kirk argues with kids on college campuses.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
like, do you feel like a big guy? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, their brains haven't formed
Yeah,
yet.
exactly. They don't even have a frontal lobe. Yeah, exactly. I get it. But yeah, to your point, everybody that's come on the show has like left me gems. Like I've learned so much from everybody for real.
Have any of the big media institutions courted you?
Define big media institutions.
Well, they don't. Up for interpretation.
New York Times, Vox, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Condé.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider moving cutting room floor to one of those places?
Yeah, I would just need to see something that made sense to leave.
Let's look at the term sheet.
How many
here.
cents?
More than I've seen. More than I've seen. Yeah, I've definitely thought about it, but that's the reason why I got on Patreon. So I've been on Patreon for 4 years now. Almost 5. Yeah, I got on in June of 2021. And I've been investing into that platform ever since. I've had the podcast for 7 years total. I'll say on and off because like during COVID, I really wasn't publishing for like a year. But technically, I started the podcast May of 2018, and I've been doing it ever since. It was audio only for like those first 3 years, and then I moved to Patreon June of 2021 for the next couple of years, and I introduced video for the first time last year. But in that time frame, the reason why I got on Patreon is because I liked making the show, but I didn't know how to monetize it, and I didn't feel like trying to figure it out. I was like, I just don't want to, because a few times that I had pitched it, if you will, sent it a deck or whatever, had a conversation with like, I don't know, Gimlet, Crooked, whoever cold emailed me because they were interested in my podcast, and then I would try to explain to them what it was, and they were like, fashion, but audio, but we don't get it. I'm like, then why'd you call me? Then leave me alone. So then I would always end up kind of like wasting time, what I considered wasting time away from actually making the thing, to have these conversations that I felt were futile and also kind of condescending. And people would reach out to me and be like, you're lucky to be here. I'm like, fuck you. I can go back to just making my little podcast. Like,
Yeah.
so that was a fool's errand, like many times. And so someone told me about Patreon.
Because they're dinosaurs, like you were saying before.
Period. Yeah. Someone told me about Patreon, and I got on there, and I was like, if even half the people who listen to my podcast come to this platform, then at least there's something. I didn't really care about how much money I was making. I just wanted to make something.
Yeah.
And then I just grew on the platform ever since then. So
You and Cumtown, those are the biggest.
Who?
No, some stupid big.
What's Cumtown, Dan?
Do tell.
It was the biggest podcast on Patreon for a
Oh,
while.
was it?
Yeah,
That's the other thing, is like I don't even know all the other creators that are on there. I'm very siloed. This is terrible.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think people
No,
think
that's good. That's
I
good.
don't know
You
what else.
You don't want to know. It's like,
I know there's like a big Twitch guy that's on there.
yeah, I'm sure. That's the
sure.
world.
Ludwig?
That makes me feel like a dinosaur when I see the Twitch stuff. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck's going on.
I think his name is Ludwig. He was big because I found this podcast, and I'm like, why are they making $400,000 a month on here?
Yeah.
And they were like,
What do I need to
well,
do?
yeah, what do I need to be doing?
You need to be playing World of Warcraft and
Period. That's what I
Yeah.
need to be doing. So anyway, yeah, that's why I got on Patreon. I didn't feel like trying to figure out how to make money. And so to that point about like media companies courting me and stuff like that, I'm not in bed with the fashion industry. Really. I'm not. Like they don't subsidize what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I don't feel, obviously I'm in partnership with them and brands and guests to a certain extent, but it's just different than being like propped up by an establishment. It's like, I don't work for you guys.
yeah. But you also have to do that dance where like you want to get something kind of interesting, maybe a little controversial or honest, but you also don't want to like you still need new people to come and do the podcast, and they don't want to be
Yeah.
like, all right, why am I going to go on the podcast and get like destroyed? And
Well, yeah, I think that's also a thing. Like, I like to have an honest conversation, but my approach, and this is also something I learned from Terry Egan's, who was at the Wall Street Journal for 20 years, who I just talked about. She was like, you don't want to do gotcha journalism. You don't want to do the thing where it's like, gotcha, you sat down and you agreed, and now I caught you up in this thing that you shouldn't have said, but I'm going to publish it anyway. She's like, you just don't want to do that. It's bad karmically, it's bad energetically, et cetera. So because I didn't go to journalism school, she kind of was the one teaching me some like journalistic ethics, even though it's just a podcast.
Yeah.
So I've always been attracted to like truth. Ugly truth, whatever it is, I don't care. Like, just tell me what it is. Like, shoot me straight. That's just who I am.
You had an episode recently that was just flooding all of my social media timelines with Steve Madden.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing that struck me was how he's so candid and just says it how it is.
Steve's a rare breed, though. Like, Steve can do that. Steve is like old school New York City Garmento. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. You know, he has similar energy to like Mickey Drexler in that way. And they don't make him like that anymore. Like, he has also a personality.
He's
personality.
He's like who's the guy, Wayne Diamond. You know, he's like that.
Yeah, he got it out the mud. Like, he's not your polished CEO. He happens to be the CEO of his own company, but like very few CEOs can come in there and talk shit like that the way he can. And, you know, he's been in prison. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think after that, people were trying to pitch to kind of like recreate the Steve Madden moment, but like Steve is just...
You're not going to be able to do
You can't necessarily do that again. Steve's just Steve.
Do you have like a white whale that you're like this is a person you really want to go after, and you haven't been able to get them yet?
Yeah, I have a couple, but you know what's funny? Most of the people that I want to come on the pod are like averse to press in general. That's just not their vibe.
Anna Wintour, she's free now.
I would love to talk to Anna Wintour, actually. Here's the other thing. It's like, this is the point that I couldn't remember before. In terms of like me, I think sometimes people like muzzle their voices when they make it to a certain place in the industry because they're like, oh, I'm in the room now. I can't say any things that I would have said before, which is like fair, but like also not good. I think like there's certain truths that I still just kind of like hold that probably won't change. Like as far as like my thoughts on my own show, I'm like Vogue sucks, American Vogue sucks. It's always been that. It hasn't always been that way. It's been that way for a very long time. Like that's not something I'm going to placate to. Like I don't think Vogue is interesting.
What shifted?
This could be generational, but I think this is objective. I would say that the really good sweet spot would have been for Anna to step down would have been around 2010. I think about 15 years ago would have been a good time. That was when everybody was getting on desktop. That's when the blogs were happening. That's when influencing was kind of becoming a thing. That's when really the digital era was taking off. Print not only is dead, desktop is dead. Like we're moving faster than they think is going on. The thing that Vogue has going for is that it has like over 100-year-old IP. Like Vogue, the word is super strong. But as far as their programming or content, what do they have? 73 questions? Like they don't have anything that people find interesting.
Right.
Vogue World, maybe, which that sounds like
there are a lot of, magazines like Rolling Stone, like they can still get a really amazing cover because it means something, but
Vogue can't even get a good cover. And that's like, controversial to some people. But like, I think, I'm in my late 30s. I grew up with Vogue. It was also, apart from just like covers and celebrity and that kind of thing, Vogue used to be far more of an intellectual publication. I think people forget that. I think women like myself or the kind of thing that I want to build, we read Vogue because it was all those things. Because if you were an intellectual woman, and this sounds so self-aggrandizing, but like if you were a woman who liked multiple things, but also like style, you could go to Vogue to read a lot of different things. And there would be a political story in there. There would be a story about something medical in there. There'd be something about, a runway thing. There'd be something about Stephen Sondheim and a great new, musical that was out. You could get
it
like
wasn't Lauren Sanchez's wedding.
It wasn't fucking Lauren Sanchez's wedding, which that feels like state-sponsored media. That doesn't even feel like an elite bourgeois
That is like a good
aristocratic.
death knell.
That was, we're done. We're
like
done
we
here.
bent the knee completely to tech. Tech has won, and now we're just like all we have is a little bit of prestige, and that's all we can
it's up
sell.
for sale.
And it's
for sale. So I think that would have been a good time for her to leave, just because you could have still saved it and put somebody in who was fresh. I mean, she was 37 when she took that role. She's been there almost 40 years. Like she would be dead before she let somebody else come take that role. In fact, her leaving isn't even really her leaving word on the street. There's not going to be another person with a title editor-in-chief. They're going to be like editorial content director.
She's still head of Condé.
Yeah, she's still head of Condé and all those things, and that's fine. And
Except for, by the way, The New Yorker, which I would say is the only maybe relevant.
Yes.
Kanye
that she's not touching.
Condé publication is the one that she does not touch.
It's the only thing that maybe still has a heartbeat,
Yeah.
I will say Amy Ashley's doing a good job with AD. I think AD is good.
Yeah. They pivoted. They do Cribs now.
Yeah, exactly. They do MTV Cribs, which was smart, and also brought those clicks in from YouTube, and so you're kind of getting the ecosystem involved. But
Brian and I were talking about how like all media
Oh,
now
right.
is actually just like
MTV
MTV
did it
shows
first.
from 20 years ago.
True. Very, very true. That's actually a great take.
Like Jackass is TikTok is like pranks,
Yep.
quick like 1 minute, like the Nelk Boys, all this like
Like
dicking
Boy Room
around.
is just Room Raiders.
yeah.
Yeah. They all
You're
did
right.
it.
All those dating shows where
Yep.
it's like in that white room.
Singled out.
Yes, next.
Yep.
They like
Whoever wants to
lay
start
the
a
bru-
viral TikTok series, just have the person go on dates with the moms.
Yes.
And then choose the person based on
parental control.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Whoa.
This is all I watch for that. They're always on at like 4:30, just when
Yeah.
you came up from school,
Yeah. Or just like all night,
all night. Yeah.
playing all night in syndication. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I think certain, like I said, opinions I'll just like always maintain because I just think they're true until they're not true anymore. But I think Vogue's day in the sun passed like a while ago.
But you think so? She still has influence? Does the Met Gala have influence, or is it again? These are all just like
I don't know. I think
20th century things that we're running on the
Like,
fumes of those.
I don't know. Like, what is the Met Gala? I don't even know what that means or what it just feels like a celebrity Olympic contest. Like, I don't really know. Yes, you can say it's for the Met Institute and, it's for the, the Costume Institute at the Met. I know what the brochure says, but I
Yeah.
just don't, we don't know what goes on in there. We don't have access. You can't bring cameras in there. The celebrities can't bring cameras in there.
Oh, they always they smoke in the bathroom and they do
They smoke
a selfie.
in the bathroom. It just feels like somebody said this on Twitter back in the day. Like it feels like a celebrity Illuminati prom. Like I don't really know what it's for, but I don't know if Anna has influence as much as she has power. I feel like those are two different things. Like she definitely has a lot of power. I don't know how influential she is. I also think, and this goes back to the conversation we were having before about it being like the right time and the right like window and the right
Yeah.
zeitgeist. Like when she came to American Vogue, that was the right time. She was in her late 30s. She had a lot of relationships with all of the best photographers in the business at that time, most of which are passing away now. That's how much time it's been. They were all in their 40s or now in their 70s or 80s, Demar Chillier, Peter Lindbergh, Craig McDean, whoever the best photographers, and we're still using those. Annie Leibovitz, Inez Invenute, like she's still partnering with her friends. Okay, sure, Tyler Mitchell will get a cover from time to time, but like ultimately we're still working with the same cast of characters. And I don't think that that's like refreshing. And that's not to age shame anybody or say that they're not even still good at their job, because I think they probably are technically experts. But
They
culturally,
haven't adapted at all.
yeah, it's a cultural thing. And I also don't think that you can, I don't know, like I said, I believe in the idea of like the window, and I don't think that you can understand a new world. There's something about the fact that she was, and a lot of her contemporaries were in their late 30s when they got to the helm. I mean, Mark was 33 when he went to Vuitton. Tom Ford was 34, I think, when he got to Tom Ford. Like, people were just stepping into their adult people jobs at that time. And then they wonder why millennials can't move through the corridor. It's like, because you guys won't piss or get off the pot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Chuck Schumer and Nancy
Exactly.
Pelosi and like
yeah, and I just think it's grown stale, and that's not to shit on those people, but I think, to hold on to a title for that long, like Conde is not supposed to be a retirement home. That's not where you're supposed to like set up shop. And I think if it would be fine if she was like the CEO of a company that like sold tires, but it's a cultural institution, so I think it would make sense to stay with like the running water.
yeah.
Who's on the cutting edge now then?
Or who has the power also.
I think my media diet is still a mixture of like legacy media and independent creators. I get things from Substack occasionally. I'm not really a big Substacker just because like my lifestyle doesn't allow for me to like read a newsletter, and for like the idea of my
And
email
your
being
Patreon tried and true.
Yeah. True.
Some of the subjects I've seen.
But there are good writers on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of it's like pretty like you have technically quote unquote good taste, but you're just like picking the most expensive, well-known designers, and you're not like styling interesting. You don't really have a personality.
Yeah, some people don't know how to synthesize like what they're consuming. I would say I'm still a little bit of everything. There's good media everywhere. That's actually like the truth of the matter. There's a lot of YouTube creators who are doing really good work. This is a very like full circle thing. I just read a really, really well-researched article about how the best YouTube journalists are all former Vox Media employees.
Joss Fong,
Joss Fong,
who's on the podcast.
Joss Fong, Jenny Harris, Cleo Abram,
Cleo Abram, yeah.
Phil Edwards. There's a lot of people who are taking the skills that they learned from an institution and bringing it to YouTube. And again, they're independent creators, but like they're making good. It's good work. And I think
But what happens when those institutions don't exist anymore? Where do people learn their skills? Also, same
Yeah.
with like journalism too. And when like, is there just the New York Times? Like, where's a whole generation of people who are doing Substack, doing independent things? Like, where are they going to actually learn how to like follow a lead,
Yeah.
fact check, whatever, like edit videos, have a narrative arc?
I think there will just be new people. Like, do you guys know Marquise Brownlee from YouTube?
Yeah,
Like, he's
huge.
been on there he's been on the platform almost 20 years, right? Or
Yeah.
I think like 15 years. And he is, I wouldn't call him a gatekeeper, but he's definitely like an expert in tech where all of the tech companies are clamoring to
I
get
call
his
him a
review.
gatekeeper.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
Yeah, a negative review from him will kill
Decimate.
startups.
Yeah, he has huge power.
Decimate.
Yeah.
So like that's what I mean by like the future of what it will look like. It won't necessarily have this like triangle effect in terms of, like I said, like the ivory tower, but who knows? Like he's well on his way to building what might be the new tech publication. It just won't come in the form of this like print IP that we're used to. But I mean, Vox Media was a new venture.
Yeah.
And they made a great name for themselves. And, in their, like, I don't know, the golden era of Vox would have been, like, maybe 2014 to, like, 2020. But, like, they produced so many people that are doing great work. But that was a new venture, But then there's still, I don't know, there's still these legacy companies. I still read the Times. I still listen to Michael Barbaro. I still,
Who do you like, Vanessa Friedman and Jacob Gallagher? And
I respect Vanessa Friedman.
Okay.
I think, and that's the other thing about me and my show too. Like sometimes when I criticize people, like Anna, whatever, I would still love to sit down with Anna. I criticize things that I respect, if that makes sense. If I'm not talking, I wouldn't mention it if I didn't think it was like really worthy. And I think also that's the beauty of a good critic is like most critics are haters are fans, like that old saying. And like when I'm hating on something, it's because I'm a fan of it, because I wouldn't know about it really, or it wouldn't be in my lexicon if I wasn't a fan in some way. And I think that's why certain like talent and creatives respect critics. They respect if they it's an exchange, right? Like you care if the person knows what they're talking about, you care if they don't like your thing. If you know someone doesn't know what they're talking about, why would you care what they said about you?
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's so much healthier. I'm going to start doing that from now on. If someone writes me hate mail, I'm going to make
Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
You're in love with me, actually.
Yeah, but that's really what it is. I mean, imagine the passion that it would take for someone to write hate mail. That is a very true like dichotomy. Like haters are fans. So sometimes I criticize things, but it's because I'm a fan of it and I wish it was better. Or I see ways in which it could be better. It's
I
not
think that's
just
such an immigrant parent mentality. I'm fucking eviscerating you because
I love you. But
Graydon
yeah,
would be a fun interview.
he would be. Actually, I think he just
Yeah.
did Bella Freud's interview or like that Neuroses show thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but TikTok's a whole different
I was
beast.
just talking with my friend about examples of grand Nepo babies, where you're the Nepo
Grandkid.
grandkid.
Oh.
And Bella Freud. There aren't that many, but there's Dakota Johnson's one. Sorry. That's just
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some. I'm like, is that
Grand Nippo.
where you're three generations. Drew Barrymore. is in
Apple
that.
Martin?
Apple Martin. Romy Mars now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's rare. So it's
Coming up. It's gonna be more common though.
It's going to be unfortunately
It's gonna be
much more.
much more common. Your fashion inspiration from Dan?
I don't know. That feels like a gotcha. I like to think it like I do it naturally, but obviously not. I'm obviously taking cues from like people I see and
Yeah.
and things in stores. But it is weird where like I'll notice it myself, like things that I wanted like 5 years ago, all of a sudden like I think that brand that I thought was really cool I feel like if I got it now it'd be like weird and washed. And I don't know why. I like it's like the brand hasn't really changed, but I guess just the culture and the way it's talked about has in a way. I was thinking
What's an
like,
example?
Like Bodhi.
Bodhi.
It would be like 5 years ago. I feel like I was like, oh, if I had money, I would like to buy some Bodhi clothes. And now, I feel like it would be kind of lame,
like the
even though I
moment
still
passed.
like what they're doing. And I think she's very talented, and the store's beautiful. But I don't.
But it kind of also aligns with your value. Like you like vintage clothing, and that sort of.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of built into the DNA of Bodhi as well.
But is it just that it's like, is it what
could
I'm
be.
thinking subconsciously? Is it just successful and it kind of doesn't? It's mainstream now and whatever. Odell Beckham Jr. wears it and it's not like cool in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think sometimes you can outgrow like the FOMO of fashion.
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt like, no, there's still things that I'm like, oh my God, I need to have that. But for the most part, when I was younger, I was more victim to it where I was like, I need this thing. And I
Right.
think like it might just be like a function of maturation. Because I find myself being, that's the kind of thing about the first question you asked me about, like, do I watch the shows? I used to be obsessed. Like I knew everything and I took pride in that. And I just think as I've grown up, I still care about fashion, but not in that way of like, Prada look, 1996, look 14. Like I don't.
You're not following it like a baseball stats.
Literally like a runner at the bottom of ESPN, like knowing
Yeah.
every single thing. Yeah, I don't do that anmer. So that might be part of it. But I get what you're saying. Like I don't have that FOMO the way I used to.
right.
But do you have brands that like, or designers where all of a sudden you're not into them and you can't really understand why? But something about their
no,
aura
I
is
think
not cool anymore?
that's such an interesting question. I don't think so. I think my style's pretty consistent, I would say. And it's not that exciting, by the way, either.
Yeah,
but
I feel like if I was in your position, I'd be so nervous every time.
Why?
You're just opening yourself up to judgment because you're talking about fashion and you're in fashion. So just like
you mean like being on camera?
being on camera and like talking to like luminaries in the fashion
Right,
industry.
similar to you, where you criticize people's homes, so therefore your
exactly.
home should
Your home
be
better look like
Yes,
to me.
exactly.
Well, here's the thing. I don't play that game. So that's why. So that's actually a good point. So I purposefully show up on camera as minimally as possible because I just
Quite
don't.
luxury.
Like I can, sure, I'll take it, because it's just not a winnable game, right? So that's why I don't want to try to give trend or give a vibe like on camera. Or I'm stylized. I'm like, no, I'm going to try to be as like fading into the background as possible.
I see.
So that there isn't, because I'm not really the subject here. Also, it allows for the guest to kind of show up more honestly too, because like this isn't a full look. I've told my cameramen that too. I'm like, we don't show feet because I don't want people to be consumed with like the look.
Yeah.
So it's like we stop kind of right here. We're just right here. Like you just need to stay focused because I feel like that would be another job. Like if I was worried about.
And that's stressful for them. They're like looking cool.
Yeah,
and
and me too. And I don't even feel like I can keep up with that, giving glam, giving wig, giving weave, giving like giving stylist.
Yeah.
Like I can't. And I feel like women in general, obviously, of course, because we're girls, but like feel this pressure to like when we're on camera, show up a certain way. That's also why I love the culture of TikTok because they don't give a fuck. You can show up however you need to show up and it's just not a thing. Whereas Instagram still feels like dated and like editorialized.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's actually a good point, but I just I'm not even in the ring in that way of like,
Yeah,
I also am not critical in that way either. If I'm criticizing something, it's not for the sake of like, this is ugly. It's usually something, or I try to like give it some meat rather than just like the facade of why I'm criticizing it. Like it's not good because,
Right.
but also I don't give a shit if people talk shit about me on the internet really either though too.
Yes.
I noticed like the shift in me, and like you described, it comes with maturation. Where when I was in my teens and my 20s, I would watch fashion shows and I would open up GQ and be like, oh, I want this thing. But now I think like Jonathan Anderson or like the creative directors where they just dress much like
Simple, yeah.
very simple because they're like the clothes do the talking. I did like just look
Yeah.
at my work. And I'm like, that's the ultimate flex.
Yeah.
It's like I don't need to prove anything.
Yeah. I think it's becoming more
Our podcast is fucking
simplified.
good enough.
Yeah, but I think I'm similar. I just got more simplified.
Yeah.
I still love fashion and I still love style. Even when someone's style is not my style, I still
Yeah.
love it and appreciate it for what it is. I still love browsing. I'm constantly browsing. Every retailer, I have the app on my phone. I'm constantly looking at stuff.
Yeah.
And I am shopping, but I'm just not, that's just not my content. I'm not showing people like
Yeah.
what I bought or what
And
I'm
you're not like going
usually.
out wearing like wild. Were you ever in a period of your life where you were like wearing wild looks?
Not wild, but like, I was like in my 20s and like giving a look, and
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
seen and being out and going to the thing.
I
And
just
yeah.
find so much of fashion media, especially on TikTok, gross. And you talked about this where it feels like
Who's the guy who's like, what's the fit? What's the fit? Oh,
But so much of it is just consumption Olympics.
Consumption Olympics. And the influencers don't help.
Look at this haul, like look what I got, and everything's
Yeah.
so expensive. And if I'm like this is so poisonous.
Yeah.
To
That's why I don't do it.
yeah.
Because that's just not what people need to hear from me. Every once in a while, and that's usually because, the audience that asks, like I'll be like, oh, I bought this thing. But what's happening, like you just said, it's the influencers that are really like urinating in the pool. They're getting gifted all this stuff, and then
Yeah.
they're going to talk about it as if they bought it. And it's just kind of like, you need this, butter yellow. It's always a trend that you've heard of before. It's like not even really new. Usually renamed by like some very Midwest Village type of girl, right? And
And it's even more specific, Midwest Village.
mid.
Like Cornelia Street.
No, I mean mid.
Oh, literally mid. Oh, yeah.
West Village girl.
Okay, yeah.
Who's like renamed something because at her PR firm she's allowed to name things.
Right.
And then and then you have a bunch of young girls, and I feel for the girls, so I'm not saying that this doesn't affect the guys, and then they feel so inadequate. I don't have this thing. I didn't buy this thing. So I don't. That's why I'm like I don't talk about
And
that.
then they all look the same in the end.
And they all look the same. So it's like it's not, I don't feel like it's healthy. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I got this, but I don't like doing it. And if I am doing that, it's because somebody gifted me something or I'm talking about the Nordstrom anniversary sale.
Yeah.
paid partnership.
Shop now.
Yeah.
All summer long, Nordstrom anniversary sale.
Or I'm doing my job. But yeah, I also, I mean, I was in my 20s once. I like to shop. I like to look away and
Yeah. It's sometimes you have
Look
to
hot.
spend too much money on a shirt, I think.
yeah.
That's
Sometimes-
Dan's way of justifying that he
sometimes-
spent too much
I
money
just
on a
did a
shirt.
TikTok
Sometimes you wake up, sometimes you're like, today I don't know what I need to do
Yeah.
capitalism. I need like a good
You wake up and you choose violence.
yes,
You're just like,
on
let's just do
myself,
it.
on my bank account.
Yeah.
And
I just
that's
did a
the
whole
only
TikTok
thing. And
about how I
I don't
spent-
know what I don't need anything. It doesn't matter what I want. I want to make an irresponsible decision and kind of know that I can do that with
Do you
my
ever feel
life.
gross afterwards?
Of entirely. And then I don't wear the thing because I'm so worried about like
there
I was
you
like
go.
there's no event that's good enough.
Or every event will be good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll wear it
I
every
think
time.
I'm like, no, this isn't worthy of the shirt. No, the shirt is. And so I'm never invited to these events. And then you don't wear them. You wear them once, you get a stain on it, and you're like, well, fuck. How do you feel about fashion's like really made a foray into the design space?
I think fashion has to get into lifestyle. I don't think they can survive just doing what they're doing. But I think we also know that too. Like, and haven't been shy about it. I think there's a lot of conversation about experiential hospitality. You see WSA is kind of a play towards that too.
I mean, Prada has like restaurants now in Milan.
Yeah. The Louis
They have
Vuitton
restaurants?
Cafe.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
they,
yeah, the LV
they
cafes,
bought
yeah.
1847 Marchese, which is like this kind of classic bakery.
Okay.
They're like this kind of a mini chain in Milan, and I think she bought it, and it's part of that. And they have the Prada Foundation Museum,
Yep.
and there's a cafe that Wes Anderson designed
Yep.
that's in there. So like they're definitely. And it's
Yeah.
the same in art, like Hauser and Wirth, which is a big gallery, has all these restaurants. They have hotels.
Yeah, I think it also just across industries it's going to converge too. But I guess it makes sense. Like they have to. I mean, even the Saint Laurent Productions, them making films now, them wanting to become production companies, them wanting to get into entertainment and compete with like the greatest of our time, from 20th Century Fox to Paramount Plus. Like I think the tentacles are going to spread, or are spreading really wide. But I think that just comes down to the fact that like they can only sell so many handbags. If you can
But
make
there's no
money
in movies. It's weird. Like they're picking like there's not that much money in movies.
just
That's
lifestyle,
like a dime,
it's IP.
I'm ready
Yeah.
for it, baby. I want to
Yeah.
live in a design within reach home,
Yeah.
top to bottom.
top to bottom.
Yeah, it's like an IP thing. It's more like lifestyle. So I didn't know about that stuff with Salone, but I guess that makes sense. Like, same reason why they're building hotels, why they're making production companies, why they're getting into restaurants and all of that experiential, because people aren't spending money the way that they used to. I mean, same
Yeah.
thing kind of happened with like fragrances and accessories, like when that became a very big category. Really like fragrance too.
Is that where they make most of their money?
Yeah,
There's
a
so
lot of
many
brands.
more fragrances than there used to be. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Apparently, it's like the highest growing category among young men from like ages 15
Oh yeah,
to
the
like
Frag Bros.
the frag bros.
Yeah,
they
they
love
just
fragrance.
trade fragrances,
Yeah.
and
I
they're
need to get into
they're
it.
getting more and more niche and more
Yeah.
expensive.
What
Are you-
fragrances do you guys wear? Do you guys?
I don't.
Do you wear anything?
I've worn a few, and my wife is just like, you smell like a woman. You have to stop doing it.
Oh.
So I've yet to find mine. You smelled great though. What do you use? If that sounds creepy, but
Today I'm wearing two different things. One of them is my friend Brooke DeVar. She has a fragrance that she came out with called Naked Beauty, and then I layered on top of it. Oh, actually, Arner from Aesop, which is so funny because they gifted that to me. Shout out Aesop. But I do have a lot of fragrances. But I mean, I like the fragrance category. I like that.
Yeah.
But back to the fashion thing, that was an easy category to get into early. Like, I don't know if you know this. This is Tom Ford lore. But when he left Gucci in 2003, he was there for many years. He went, and the first thing he did when he went on his own was trademark his name so that he could start fragrances and beauty, and it sold. Like, he didn't get into apparel till years later, and it did so well because it was such an easy category to get into. You license your name, you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting, and the beauty I mean, the department store culture is kind of dead now, but like the beauty counter, the fragrance counter is like such
Yeah.
a thing, and it still is. And so like a lot of these brands, luxury brands, Dior, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. I mean, these things that keep Vogue afloat, right? Flip through
Yeah.
the pages, like
Right.
Miss Dior, Natalie Portman, the same, Charlize Theron, the same ads you've been seeing for the last 20 years.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's, I guess, shot some.
Yeah.
Chanel, like he was
The
like a Chanel
Sauvage,
ambassador.
right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like he shot those photos 20 years
Yeah,
ago,
and they're still
using
running.
them.
Cool.
Exactly.
David
Doesn't matter
Cool
how
Water
many
with McConaughey.
how many Me Too's trials.
Yeah.
Just keep sniffing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Now there's all these like you said, niche fragrances and
Yeah.
candle companies, and there's Madeleine. I don't know if you know that one, or like even Byredo or
Yeah.
Diptyque or Le Labo or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, Le Labo to us feels probably played out, but like somewhere there's somebody who just discovered it.
They just discovered it. Mm-hmm. That's a whole. I can barely figure out how to dress. Now I have to think about how to layer fragrances. This is insane.
I'll just text you a list.
Okay, yeah,
and
just tell me.
choose one.
Tell me what to do.
This is actually great. Let's gift Dan some fragrances.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
A call to action.
My Instagram stories are your canvas.
Get into it. We should gift you some fragrances. As if I have the power to do that. I don't.
Yeah.
But
You're launching a fragrance for the cutting room floor.
actually I should. That would be fun. Fragrance is hard though. That's a hard category to get into. So I hear. I've never done it, but like I've heard because it's like a monopoly. There's only a few people who do it around the world.
To like produce a mess, right? You can do
Yeah.
it in your bathtub.
Cody. There's only a couple. Estee Lauder. There's only a few places that everybody's licensing out from.
I feel like there's some like queer collective in Bushwick. That's
I know, this is
in their bathtub.
Exactly. Everybody says that. There was like we make it all in house and like and I'm always like,
It's I don't know. I think I found
do
your
you, or is
pube
this a
in
licensing
your,
deal?
in
I
your
don't know.
fragrance.
That's so
I
funny.
can't tell. So is your thing like furniture? Is that your bag? I feel like you're in the art, furniture,
Design
interiors
and art,
world.
yeah.
Design.
Design.
But both of you are comedians
Yeah. That's
and
how we
make
started.
fun of it.
And we make fun of it.
Well, you're more design.
You're
I'm
more fashion.
I'm more into fashion.
Oh, you're more fashion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can't you tell? Look at.
Yeah,
No.
I love this look. I love those shoes. This is a very like kind of calm, chill, Yoji inspired, minimal.
I'm chill. You hear that?
I think you're Yoji inspired.
I got vetted.
Yeah.
I don't own any
Simple.
Yoji pieces though.
Really?
No. It's
Okay.
too.
It's too on the nose for you.
No, it's just too much. And also,
They're doing a lot. They are doing a lot.
It's a little too much for me.
What brands do you like? Or maybe I should say what type of style you like rather than the brand.
Elevated casual. Mm-hmm. Like
Are you like, as far as your color palette, are you usually black and white or do you do color?
I don't really do much color. A lot of tones. Black.
Tonals, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Gray,
it.
charcoal.
Yeah, I like La Mer these days. It's like very wearable, but when you see it on, like, okay, great. This feels elevated. It makes me feel confident.
Yeah, I love La Mer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have money for La Mer, but I have.
Fuck up, Dan. You're like, I'm going to CHCM. You want to come?
I don't buy anything. I go, and I don't buy anything.
If you go in there, you can afford it. Do you have a dumb app idea for us?
This isn't my idea. I should actually give credit to the person that said this on TikTok, and I thought it was a good idea. They said like a running errands app for mothers, because like moms are always busy doing all the things, and like if they could just outsource some little stupid task that they have to do that week, which is like, can somebody please go source like 100 red balloons? I need it for my daughter's kindergarten play thing. And like you just go and almost like a task rabbit for just like for
Right.
moms in your neighborhood
Yeah,
or
and
in
the
your
weird
community.
shit that they have to
And
do.
the weird shit that they need to
category
do.
then.
It's
Yeah.
not babysitting. It's not like house managing.
Mom
it's just
stuff.
like mom stuff.
Bake sale next week.
Yeah, like can drive. Can somebody go do all? And then I'm like, I would love as a woman who doesn't have kids to be able to just like log in one day when I have free time and be like, let me just go do something
Help
for a
some
mom.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll cost me nothing. So that's not my idea. I saw it on TikTok, but it is a good app idea.
And not paid, just like
Not paid.
pay it
Not
forward.
paid.
Your work.
Just like if you want to volunteer, do something that like doesn't take a lot out of your day. Or you could make it take a lot out of your day. Depends. But like you just skim through the tasks and be like, I'll do that.
How are we going to
Not at
scale
all.
this?
Yeah. We're gonna get an investor for this free app idea.
Exactly. Exactly. We'll have Bezos pay for it. He'll be
Yes.
his
Oh,
philanthropic
his
work.
charity.
Lauren
Very-
Sanchez
very
will
generous.
spearhead. Yeah.
Yes. No, she's busy. She has a lot of stuff to do.
I was pissed about that cover. And the dress was ugly. Sorry. But
And his tux was like ill-fitting. You'd think they'd be able to hire like the best people, but it's
it
like
felt
it's
very
truly it is the
dystopian.
most.
Oh, you didn't like the
example.
foam party?
oh, it was like kind of like Hunger Games-y
And why was
state-sponsored
Sydney
media.
Sweeney there? Like I was
That
like,
was
are you friends? Who are you friends with?
That was so random.
They're in their 50s.
Like, you made it here? I think it's weird when people have a lot of celebrity friends. There's no way. I don't even have that many fashion industry friends. Like, I don't kick it with people in this business that much. How would you have that many celeb friends? Is it just like we all get along because we're all rich and we know what it's like to be rich?
Yeah,
I
maybe
think
we
it's
just talk about
endemic
PJs.
to tech people because they just feel like they're like scorned dorks. So they have an obsession with
They want to feel
cool,
cool.
and
You're so right.
Yeah, Zuckerberg wants to hang out with Joe Rogan. And
yeah, MMA,
MMA.
fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I
It's
forget
sad.
about that's their deeper
It's a
inner
whole-
being.
Yeah. Retro, thanks for coming on Middlebrow Pod.
Thank you. This
I
was
hope it
a
was fun.
pleasure.
Door to door, under 2 hours.
Perfect. Thank
Door to
you guys.
door.
This
Door
is
to door.
great.
Where can our listeners find your podcast?
On Patreon. Only on Patreon. The Cutting Room Floor. TikTok, TCRFFF. Whatever. The Cutting Room Floor everywhere. Just
And
look
you're
for the green
Omandi on
square.
Instagram, right?
Almondi. That I'm trying to change. I'm like trying to fight tooth and nail to get Instagram to throw me a bone. And
You want to change it to
The cutting room floor. The person who has it is squatting on it. They haven't posted in months, years. There's no post. There's no nothing. But
Eva Chen? Where you at?
I know, but like
Come
they're
through.
all yeah, exactly.
For real.
For real.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Amandi. That's my last name. But just type in the cutting room floor and look for a green circle. You'll find us.
Cool. Listeners, if you made it this far, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, follow us on socials, leave a review, share with your friends.
Send us some Lemaire.
Send us some
Love
Lemaire.
some
Yeah.
Lemaire.
Okay, that was Middlebrow.